All right, so up next, we had a backstage segment. Tom Phillips with Nikki Bella. He asks about Brie Bella being escorted out of the arena at Money in the Bank. Nikki says that she didn't think it was a mistake to invite her and that it wasn't a big deal. And then Stephanie shows up and she says, "Good news, Nikki. You and your sister have a match against the Funkadoodles tonight. But, oh wait, Brie abandoned you, so you're going to have to wrestle a handicap match."
Douche.
Dude, this is such classic Stephanie McMahon at this point, too. Like, this is just her. Like, to me, she is the closest thing that we can possibly get to 1998 Vince McMahon on WWE television right now.
She's doing great work. I would like to think of her work as just like one giant homage to her father, because it's just been absolutely wonderful. I love how much she gets into it, and more importantly, I love how she's willing to take a comeuppance for the good of the storyline. Now, I want to ask you, since we're talking about Stephanie McMahon and the Bellas, I read something today, Ashton, and I'm going to still keep the other remaining cards in my hand because I feel like those will be great future discussions. But one of the matches discussed for SummerSlam is Brie Bella versus Stephanie McMahon.
Really?
Now, how do you feel about that?
I think that's amazing if they do it.
I agree. I think you and I have been calling for this, especially you, and that's why I want to talk about this with you now. You've been saying, look, Stephanie as a heel is great, but what's the end game? You know, who is going to get the benefit from this? Who's going to get the payoff from this? And we said after Brie slapped Stephanie at, I believe it was Payback, it should be Brie because people really liked when she slapped her. She's married to anybody, so it only makes sense that she would get this big payoff on her husband's behalf. And if they do a match at SummerSlam, I think we'll see more people in Brie's corner than ever before, especially if Stephanie keeps consistent with these antics and does even more vile, villainous stuff between now and SummerSlam. I hope that match happens.
Right, and especially if she keeps on doing stuff like this to Brie's sister.
Exactly. That's a great point, Ashton. Thank you for bringing that up. She needs to torment Nikki personally because, of course, Brian can't be the object of her torment now because he's out. Otherwise, that, too, would have been perfect. Or both, really. I mean, really pile it on. But, yeah, make Nikki the object of Stephanie's ire and then just have Brie step in and be like, you know what, I've had it. And who knows? Maybe you'd want to get Nikki involved in the end game somehow. Maybe be like, Brie, it took you this long. Why weren't you there sooner when this happened or that happened? Maybe we finally get a Bella feud. Maybe we don't.
Well, seeing what I was thinking is we would probably get Stephanie McMahon calling her female entourage down to the ring to help her beat up Brie, and it would be like Alicia Fox, Layla, Rosa Mendez, the same crew that helped her beat Vicky, and then Nikki would come out and help Brie.
Right. Yeah, I could definitely see that too. I think that'd be a great matchup. I think it'd be a great payoff for Brie. It'd be nice to see a diva.
You know what, dude? I could see Nikki and a couple like the Total Divas girls, like Nikki, the Total Divas baby faces, I should say. Nikki, Naomi, maybe since they're booking her like a babyface, Summer Rae.
I could see that.
Just do like the 4-on-4 thing with Brie versus Stephanie being the highlight of it. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah, I really commend Stephanie, especially if these rumors turn out to be true and they pan out, for putting herself out there and willing to take a comeuppance for the good of the storylines that she's a part of. Because I think that's such a critical part of being a heel. So good on Stephanie.
Absolutely. All right. So, and here's the thing. Up next, we had Bo Dallas. He came out, asked for 60 seconds of silence for two superstars who can't compete today, Bad News Barrett and Daniel Bryan. He drops to one knee, and I literally watched a clock. He did 75 seconds. This was legendary, but what I really want to talk about here is why the WWE doesn't do segments like this more, where you just have somebody that you're trying to get over come out, cut a promo, in a heel's case, garner heat in the really easy way like this, or in a babyface's case, just talk about what he's doing, how he got there, his opponent, anything. I want these simple, singular promos to happen more often. Why does it always have to be in the form of an interview?
I agree. I felt like this was a great heat magnet for Bo. What surprised me is that, unless you heard differently, Ashton, because I was fully engaged, but I don't remember really hearing a lot of reaction, the boner chants really didn't carry over for Money in the Bank.
No, there were no boner chants at all.
Yeah, see, so there was no carryover, which was kind of disappointing, but maybe in the end, maybe better for Bo in the long run. I don't know. That I guess is debatable. But I loved what he did here. Yeah, I felt like silence speaks so many volumes. It's such a great irritant, or it's such a great way to derive emotion if you're trying to be serious. It does a great job. Just ask Chris Jericho in 2012. So for Bo to just have that whole moment of silence for 75 seconds, which amounts to a minute 15 seconds, it was really awesome. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, I just want them to do more stuff like this because I understand the interview format and why it works, but you don't have to have every single promo. And another good one, when Punk used to do it, when he would just come out, sit down in the middle of the ring, and talk. We need more stuff like that.
I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think if you could put a word to what you're describing, I think you want more spontaneity in a way. I think interviews are too structured.
I
It's like,
want
okay,
more variety in my promos.
yeah, you want more variety, and I think maybe you want more of an informal atmosphere. Because again, I feel like,
Yes,
yeah, in
exactly.
formal, that's the word.
Because, like,
That's the word.
dude, like with Dean Ambrose, he is amazing at cutting the interview promos, but his best promo of the night was after Rollins won his match and started talking, and then Ambrose cut him off. And guess what? There was no interviewer there asking Dean Ambrose questions. He just wanted to say what was on his mind, and he did it.
Exactly. I feel like interviews are too structured, and they take away from some of the organic nature of the storylines
Cookie
taking
cutter.
place.
It's cookie
Yeah,
cutter.
it's perfect phrasing, Ashton. It is cookie cutter because it's like, okay, John, just to insert a name in there, we're gonna go from point A, and then after point A, we're just gonna talk about point B very quickly, and then after point B, we're gonna discuss point C, and just do all that. Whereas with something like that, maybe they're scatterbrained a little bit, but in a way that always comes back to the story, and that's what I like because that seems more natural. That seems more human to me.
And actually, now
So,
that I think about it, we did get a little more variety tonight because the Rusev, Lana, Zeb thing was also relatively well improvised. That wasn't really an interview format. So yeah, we had some more of that tonight, but I feel like I just want to, you know what? I'm going to say it now. That's going to be my Raw request. Keep up with the variety in your interview or in your promo styles so that they aren't all just interviews.
excellent Raw request. I'll happily co-sign on to that.
All right, dude. So up next, and this is another really cool thing. Bo basically got interrupted. His segment was just barely finished, and Nikki Bella's music hit. That's another thing that I really like because they can use that to introduce feuds. Like, say, just for example, just pulling names out of nowhere, Big E versus Rusev finishes. Big E just kind of gets up and slowly kind of creeps his way out of the ring, and next thing you know, I don't know, maybe Ryback's music hits, and we get like a shoulder brush between Ryback and Big E. You know what I mean? Like, that's a really cool way to set up future matches.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that we're talking about comes with just kind of dismantling the structured nature a little bit.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? I feel like that's something that Triple H wants to do too, because I remember reading that Triple H feels like this format of having your most important segments going on first and last and at every hour border, he feels like that old format is like a contrived thing and he wants to mix it up more. So that's like, I feel like when Triple H takes over, all this stuff is going to start to get even better.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you. Again, I'm going to save my Raw request for the actual segment, but again, there was just so much about this Raw that I liked and that I wish was a standard part of the writing process.
This episode felt like it was straight out of the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect label to give it because I just felt like there was so much right with this episode, and again, that I would want to be a part of the standard writing, constructing philosophy for future episodes of Raw and SmackDown. This is just great stuff.
Absolutely. So up next, as I was saying, Nikki Bella's music interrupted Bo, so she comes out, has her handicap match with Cameron and Naomi, the Funkadactyls, or as I like to refer to them, the Funkadoodles. And we really didn't, I mean, it was pretty much a squash match. It was 2-on-1. You can't really expect much more than that. But we did get a confrontation between Cameron and, was it Cameron and Naomi that had the confrontation at the end? Yeah, it was, because I remember they almost freaking kissed. It was freaking weird. But yeah, they had a confrontation, and Cameron leaves eventually and just kind of walks off solo as Naomi is in the ring.
Yeah, Naomi's in the ring. Naomi seemed guilty, kind of struggling with herself, subjecting Nikki to this handicap match and just giving her all this punishment with an unfair advantage. Cameron, of course, didn't care because it's all about Cameron. You know, she is the center of the universe. Just consult any scientist in the history of ever. And, you know, after the match, Naomi does seem like, you know, she's regretting it. Cameron, though, has got her own issues because she's so self-absorbed. They confront each other, and pretty much it just ends with her typical girl bye, and she leaves.
I mean, Naomi hit an amazing crossbody in this match.
Her athleticism just blows my mind. I can't wait for her first Divas title win if it ever comes, because I'll tell you what, for her getting her first championship, I think that would be a mark-out moment for me, because I just really like her, and I'm definitely behind her. So break up with Cameron, beat her down at Battleground, break up, and just go and be the champion that we all know you can be. So,
yeah. I mean, here's the thing, dude. I don't know if you are familiar at all with Reddit's tier lists, but ever since WrestleMania, users on Reddit have been keeping track of the WWE kayfabe tier list, and it's like the S ranks are like the Undertaker and Brock, and then the A ranks are like John Cena, Triple H, and I think Daniel Bryan is in there, and then you have like the B plus ranks with Kane and the Shield and those guys. I think that if we had a Divas tier rank, AJ would be the A, and then Naomi and Paige would both be the B pluses.
I would agree with that assessment. Yeah. I just think Naomi is somebody that, at least as far as her in-ring product is concerned, she's top-notch. Her speaking ability, I think, is passable enough. Cause, you know,
that's exactly what I think about Paige, though. Paige,
right.
She's a great in-ring worker. Her speaking ability could use some fine-tuning, and her facial expressions are off. But she's great looking, and she is great in the ring. Naomi, pretty much the same thing. Naomi's a really gorgeous girl. She's great in the ring. She's hands down the most athletic diva on the roster. And yeah, she could use some work on her promos, just like Paige. The only one that doesn't really have any flaws other than just being small is AJ.
Right.
So there you go. There's your Divas tier list for now. I would put Alicia Fox down right below them, too. Probably like a C.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right.